Hey, welcome back to the channel. So recently I put this video out on my YouTube channel.
Creative people can stimulate creativity in others. And so, because you can't see the details. And all for the sake, considering what its fashions are is the besetting temptation.
And a lot of you seem to like the colors, the way it all turned out in the end, the look of it, stuff like that. So I got a lot of inbox messages all over the place about how I could create that kind of look. Well, there is some secret little recipes that I did use in order to get that look. So today I just want to talk about that secret little plugin, and this is just one of them. I did use various things on this, but this software, it did the majority of the work to give it that authentic kind of film kind of look, and that software is called Dehancer. Let me just show you what this thing can do. Let's go straight to the computer. Right then, so welcome to my screen recording here. As you can see, I've got DaVinci Resolve open up here, and I've got a few files down the bottom here, which I'm planning to use to pop this DaVinci, sorry. So I've got these files below here, which I'm planning to put Dehancer on. So let's head over to the color panel, head into there, and I'll show you what I've got here. So I've got some footage here from X-T3 Fujifilm. This one I believe is from X-T4. This one's from Blackmagic. This one's from GH6. This one's also from X-T4, I believe. And then the last one is a raw file from another Blackmagic camera, 4K. Right. So let me just show you what this software is doing already, right? So let's head over to this first one here, which I believe is the X-T3 file. If you take a look here, this picture already kind of, this video file here already kind of looks very filmic. Now, obviously you're watching this back on YouTube, so I apologize, it's not going to look as good as what I'm seeing here, but what I'll try and do is overlay the finished product as I'm talking as well to give you some information. But so far you should be able to see what's going on here. If you're familiar with DaVinci Resolve, then you'll know there's a node system to the right. We're not going to cover that in this video. This video is just to show you Dehancer as a software. So if I switch Dehancer off, this is what we're getting fresh out of the box. This is already a Rec 709 image. I think this is the Eterna picture profile in the Fujifilm cameras. So when I switch Dehancer back on, it's looking like that. Back off. Sorry, I'm back on. Back off. I'm back on. Now there's a few things to note here. Firstly, take a look at the waveform, down the bottom right here, and look what happens when I switch it on and off. You see how everything starts to get really exaggerated and blown? Like there's no more of these sharp, harsh color lines, which are really defined, which just basically tells you that you have a really sharp, defined image. As soon as we switch that on, they all start to blend. The highlights get dropped all the way down. They're not clipping. As you can see here, they're clipping out. Drop the Dehancer on. It all just falls into a different realm, a different light realm. Everything gets a bit more molded together, a bit more fused. And that's what's giving us this image here. So when we go back to this image, take a look here at my wife's face. When we take the Dehancer off, you can see more detail in her face, right? I mugged her off, I caught her at a really bad angle here. But anyway, it kind of takes away all the information that we can see here when we put the Dehancer on. There you go, it kind of blends it out. But that's kind of how film looks. And when we scroll through this, and then we can start to see what it's exactly doing. Some light there. It's a really good position actually to show the demonstration of this product. Switch back off and back on. So what is Dehancer doing here? What have I done inside of the Dehancer software? So as you know, in DaVinci, your effects and everything get put on the right side here. So this is what happens when you load up Dehancer. First of all, in the input, you've got a source. Now, this isn't a full review of Dehancer. This is just me showing you my little secret weapon here to add a little bit of extra boom to some of the videos that I'm making at the moment. So my source file, Rec 709. Don't need to change anything else right now. Not in this particular demonstration. I haven't touched anything to do with the coloring or anything like that. What I have done is I've actually switched off the film emulation. As far as expand, I don't think I've touched that at all. So nothing changes there really. On the print, I've left it as linear. So the only thing I've really changed here is I've scrolled all the way down, because there's a lot of other things going on here. We'll talk about it in a moment though. I've scrolled down. I've allowed film grain. That's the biggest thing that's going to really give it that film look, because this film grain isn't just slapped over the top. It's really organic and it blends in with your particular image. For example, you can see here we've got shadows, midtones, and highlights where we can push more grain and less grain. So I want you to focus on this area here, the sky. Now focus closely. Now watch what happens when I bring the highlights down. You see all the grain disappears at the highlights there, out of the sky. Put it back. A lot of grain in the sky. I bring it back. It's kind of in the middle. Sorry, that's in the middle. Hardly anything. Too much. So we can just focus on different lighting parts of the image, which is amazing. Because say now in this mid-tone to shadow area here, maybe I don't want all that grain. So I can get my shadows, I can drop it, and it cleans the image up. I can see her face more now, which is nice. I want to pump it a little bit back more, just go a little bit more. That's so nice now. And then with the mid-tones, I can also bring that down. So now her skin is not showing any grain whatsoever. I can pump it all the way up. A lot of grain, no grain, a lot of grain. You know what I mean? It's really customizable, and that's way better than just slapping on a file where you do the overlay and stuff afterwards. So that's the film grain there. If I switch the film grain off altogether, you get an image like this. But one thing you may know, see these red little highlights here? Little red highlights around her hair, all around the hat, around here. This is halation, and this happens, you can see on the buildings there. Halation happens when you film on film. Something to do with the way the light is transcoded through the film. It causes this kind of, what do they call it? A mistake, I would say, something that people don't really want on their stuff. But if you're trying to get that film look, you're trying to, emulate it, then you may need to emulate this. So let's put the film grain back on. So it looks a bit more filmic now. And now let's scroll down to halation. Let me switch that off so you can see what's going on. So I'll switch that off. No halation. I'll switch it back on. You see the red lines? Now I have turned this up to exaggerate it, because if I was to turn it down and just put it in an okay spot, like naturally, I'll probably have it around there. But on YouTube, you're not gonna be able to see that. So I gotta turn it all the way up so you guys can see this big red bar and line going around here. But yeah, this is all very customizable as well. You can amplify its power, so it's all over the image if you really want to go for that kind of I'm pushing this film look kind of thing, you know what I mean? And you can pull it back all the way down just to get a subtle look there. You can even compensate for the blues in the image, which is awesome as well. It's an amazing little tool there to add even more film look to what you're getting here. Now as we scroll down, I'll show you one more thing, and that's bloom. I haven't got that on this image here, but if I enable that on, you see how the image changes very slightly, and it's just taking us even closer to that film look. So if I switch that on, I'm on bloom over here on the right, it's in the highlights. Let me just increase or amplify the blooming look. As you can see, it's really a lot there. Turn it down, and it's just giving this diffusion all over the image, which is quite nice. I'm gonna put it about halfway, and then you can change the impact. It's probably a better way to do it. The impact there, up and down, really softens out the edges of the image. But if I switch that off completely and switch it back on, it just adds another layer of dehancing. We're not enhancing the image, we kind of dehance it. We know we're taking it back, and it just adds another layer of that. So once we've got all that recipe together there, I'm going to switch it off. That's how it looks out of camera, and that's now how it looks with the Dehancer. Now all I've done, that's just film grain, halation, and bloom. There's a lot more going on inside Dehancer to take it even further. You can even create your own LUTs and everything like that. Another thing as well is printing film. So say if I go up to the top here, we can see what print stock we want it to go on. Right now it's on linear, so just using whatever's there. I can check this to Kodak 288. What? Yeah, I'm reading it wrong. Yeah, we can take it to this Kodak print film here, which is a very popular one right now in the film industry. We can click that. And as you can see, it's giving us a bit more of that punchy film look. We can turn down the saturation of that if we need to, go kind of a, you know, dated image, push it even further. We can even get the color density to be darker. Now, that's probably what you noticed in that short little piece that I made. I wanted my color density to be really rich and really tonal. So a lot of the leaves, the trees, and stuff like that you see in that video, they are very rich, but they don't look oversaturated. You know what I mean? They're just really rich and dark. You get that from this color density right here. So at the moment, it's 100 on this image, and you can see it's quite a lot. If I was to go all the way down, it doesn't strip the whole thing of color. It's just the density of it. So I can slowly bring that in. So around there is a nice, weighty color basis, if that makes sense. You can also have contrast here. Pop some more contrast into the image. Put more density into there. I can also target the white as well. So this white here, you notice, got some slight tints of blue to it. You might not see that on YouTube, or you may see it. I can actually target the white here, and if I push it to the right, that's going to get more blue. If I push it to the left, it's going to have a yellow tone to it, which gives this whole video a better look actually. So I'm just going to pull that all the way to the left, so nice, a proper warm evening. It looks very film to me. If I go once again and switch Dehancer off, we're going to have this image, and now it looks a big difference now that we've affected the print to this. Quite drastic, quite different. But I'm not liking how much halations there is, so I'm just going to bring that down just a bit. Bring that impact down. We're going to go about there. To me, that looks all right. Yeah, sorry if my throat's making weird noise. I just had a drink, so yeah. All right, so that's that piece of footage right there, and that's what I did on that one. Looks pretty good. As I scroll through, I will show you the finished product on the screen for you to see. Maybe do before and after screen there for you. Something split screen. I don't know how we can do that, but we'll work it out. Yeah, this looks awesome. God, it looks dope. All right, anyway, let's move on to another one. So there we've had a Fujifilm profile. I think this also is a Fujifilm profile, so I apologize for you to see how close this is to my face. Maybe it's, yeah, whatever. I'll switch Dehancer on so you can see what I've done here, and you can see this is quite effective, right? This is a really strong amount of emulation I've applied here. You can see my eyes have darkened up there. My skin tone has gone very filmic. There's a lot of film grain going on here. And I just wanted to kind of push that to show you that you can do that kind of big Hollywood look. And yeah, once again, I'll run you through some of the settings, but I'll try and be quick because we've already spoke a lot about this already, right? So at the top again, I'm at Rec 709. Now, if you came in with a different source file, like a log file or something, you can go Rec 2020. You got all these other ones here, Cine log, all those Cine on film logs, and then you can choose your camera, exactly what it comes from, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Right, so as you can see here, film, I've also got switched off again. Now, if I switch this on, it's going to change the look even more. Now we've got some sort of, we've got a kind of, you know, Saving Private Ryan kind of look here. It's very cold, but look at all these film stocks here. Look at all this. Look at this big, long list. Now, granted, a lot of these are photography ones. Not all of them are motion picture. But you can just go through these and find the look that suits what you want to do. It doesn't really matter if it's a photography one at all. You know what I mean? It's a baby crying. As we scroll down, you can just find what suits the film that you're working with. You know, I mean, it looks pretty cool in black and white as well. You go for Kodak Gold, which looks nice and warm. Kind of like that. Right, so that's our initial film stock we're working with there. If I scroll down once again, now we've got expand here, which is basically, as you can see there, I've got it switched on a little bit, and it's just pumping the shadows up a little bit. But I'm kind of liking it with less on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the whites here, bring that down. Oops, sorry, the other way. Yeah, just to darken the image. And the black point here, I'm going to just twist and turn it so I get something nice. So let's go about there. So we've still got some light on the eyeball here, but the rest of it is showing some depth, some darkness, you know. Let's switch that off and on. Very subtle, but it's there. It's doing something, right? And on the print, now you'll notice that I've got the the Kodak 2383 print film on there. So if I switch that off, you can see everything it's doing. So flat before. I switch that all the way back. Got some color. It puts it into this tone here, and then when we enable it, it really does darken it up and give us a proper, you know, genuine kind of film look there as we scroll through. Yeah, it's a nice look. It looks like genuine film kind of thing. Well, as close as you can get to it, right? Once we're here again, we can change everything within inside this print. So we've got a target white point. I've already pushed it over to the warm side. It's just my preference there. But let's just say this person's looking through the window, which I am. You can see the reflection of my eyes. So it's not going to be so warm like that. It's going to be a little bit pushed back. But you can see how you kind of get in that Hollywood look. You can even do a bit of exposure here, up and down, however you see it. But I want to kind of leave that how it was. And then you got your tonal contrast again. You can really darken this image, but you can lighten it up. So I'm going to add some weight to it right there. So it is darkening them up. The colors are changing a little bit. You may or may not like that. And then the color density, I've got it 100 already, so I can pull that back and push it up, but I'll kind of keep it around that high. I don't know, I just like the values to be nice and rich. So if I switch that off, I'm back on again. To me, that's looking like a film image. It looks really good. And then we've got something else down here, which you'll see that I've affected very slightly, which is color head. So if I switch that off and on, off, and on, what you'll see there is my skin tone's actually changing. I'm just changing the tonality of certain colors in here. Now this is referring to a color head. I'm guessing it's got something to do with the way the film's getting integrated into, I don't know, some sort of projection or something like that. Not too sure exactly, but all I know is that you can get some really cool tones with this. Like if I'm at -3 right now, if I push it hard to the left there, hard to the right, it's going to be aggressive and too much, as you can see there. But if I go subtle, like just there, start to get a warm green tone. And if I go to the right here, a little cooler tone, but I like that warm tone, so we'll stick around there. Same with the magenta greens, cyan reds. You mess them about. If you press gang, it gangs them all together. Simple. Then we got film grain. I'll switch that off. We talked about film grain before. You'll notice this film grain is actually adding a little bit of light here. And I believe that's because here, you see I've adjusted where it's lighting up the situation. Now, one thing we didn't talk about before was the color of the grain. If you look at my eye here, maybe you can't see. Let's go 50%. Oh, sorry, let's go further than that. Let's go 100%. Now, if you take a look at my eye here, you can see that the grain actually has multiple colors to it. You might not see this on YouTube. I hope you can. But what we can do here actually is if we go to the film grain, go to the chroma, we can turn it all the way up so you can see more colors now. Surely you can see those colors on YouTube, hopefully. And then if I turn it all the way down, the grain doesn't have color to it. All the way up, a lot of color, no color. To me, that's saying digital. To me, that's saying film. But I know film does show color grain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back it and then go a little bit forwards, 15 on there. And I'm going to come back out and fit. Now, the thing with the film grain is it's fully customizable. At the moment, I've got the size on small. I got the resolution on 50, but you can turn the resolution up as if you're just working on a higher size film, like a large format film. And then you can put the size here even higher if you wanted to. So it's a bit more obvious that you've got grain on there, like a 8mm or a 16mm. Then you can add the amount, so you can get a bit crazy. But yeah, as you can see, you can really start to ruin your image quickly. So what I like to do is keep this about 20. My resolution, I actually like to bring around 75. For me, it's great there. And then my size, I start to bring it back down until it's kind of a clean. I don't like too much grain, actually, like a clean image. So if I switch my grain on and off here, you can see that looks digital, right? On, it's just something about that that's telling me that looks a bit more film-like. It's crazy. It is really crazy. All right, so that's that file. We're going to quickly move on now because I'm already 18 minutes into this video and I wanted it to just be a 10-minute video. So how does it work when you've already got a fully color graded video like this one here? You've probably seen this intro to one of my other videos. Just going through the forest here. Now, what I wanted to show you is this section here. Now, this obviously looks digital. It's colored great. Yeah, it was a really nice, bright, vibrant situation. The dynamic range of this camera is awesome. We've got the sky, we've got all the leaves and everything, the trees, shadows, it's all there, right? Let me switch on what I did on the Dehancer. Now, this is a bit crazy because I'm trying to get a Super 16 kind of look here, so you'll see a big difference. When I switch that on, notice all that halation. You'll notice all the grain that's developed inside the trees here. And then if you take a look at the flowers, especially around this area, and especially around this area here, I've added some bloom to that. So switch it off. It looks really sharp, very digital. And this just takes away all that edge. So then when we go through this scene, it's now just got like a whole different vibe to it. A whole different look. Especially down here. Look at this. Let's switch this off. Let's switch it back on. It's crazy. It looks like it was shot in a different time era, which is amazing. So that means you can overlay it really easy over video footage that you've already graded, which is quite awesome. The only way to do that is obviously you want to switch off all your film emulations, everything like that, and just leave the grain on, the halation and the bloom. The gloom, or the gloom and the bloom. Oh my god. As I scroll down though, you'll notice there's even more. So in this one, I've got vignetting switched on. If I switch it off, you see it's very subtle, but just adds to the effect. Because I just don't like to use a lot of vignetting. You got film breathing and gate weave. Now these are to do when the film's being projected back inside the cinema. That film is obviously, it's an organic piece of material. It can never just flow through the system perfectly. Like some variations happen on the film, so it wobbles, it moves in, it moves out, and that just adds to the film look. I'm not adding any of that onto my stuff because it really does slow down the computer. And for me, I don't want it to have that projected look. I want it to be the look before that stage. But yeah, it's cool that we can have that. And it's cool the fact that you work your way from the top to the bottom in the order that the film is basically developed in the film world. If that makes sense. You know, you capture it, get it developed and all that business, and then it goes through a system, it goes through a projection, and then it can get digitized. And yeah, it's pretty cool that we have that whole system inside this software here. So that's the Dehancer on with that one. That's off. Very sharp, very digital, very over-the-top film look, I'll call that one. It's definitely the halation that's going over the top here. So if I was to just grab that wherever we are, yeah, switch that off there, switch it back on. It really does add to the scene though, to be honest. The halation does, it helps a lot. We bring that impact down, go back there, and now it looks like a, you know, a solid film emulation now. Really nice. Okay, so we've got some more footages here, or more images for you guys, because it's not really moving so much. It's my Blackmagic setup here. Now I'll just put Dehancer on, just to show you what I did with this one. As you can see, it's a very, very hard, heavy film look. There's halation all over the place, and I'm guessing by now you guys have known how I do that. Got all my kind of settings there. But what I will show you here, if I go up, we'll see that this was shot on the Panasonic GH6. I know, I'm a lucky guy, right? What's great about this is you can go to camera and you can choose the camera. Now, unfortunately, GH6, as you know, it's a brand new camera. There's no settings for it. So I've just used the GH5 and the Vlog, and it gets us into this color space here. It's really simple to use. I will show you again. So if we go here, switch my Dehancer on. This makes a lot of difference in this footage here. You'll see me playing with some bushes, you know, nice. But look at that. That looks like an old Super 16 film right there. And that's taken all the way from F-Log. So that's taken F-Log on XT3, right? And it brings you all the way there, which is really nice. So we go in here, we choose the camera. Yep. And then we select Fujifilm from the list. XT3, F-Log. And then it brings us into a color space that we can work with. Ends up looking like this at the end once we've done all our tweaking bits and bobs. Really awesome. Finally, last bit I want to show you, and then this video will end, is just what I've done here and the difference that you can get out of this. So there's my mug down at the beach, right? So this is the camera in B-roll. This is this log kind of color basis here. I'm going to switch this to Rec 709 for you right now. Look at this. So that's Rec 709. Take a good look at that. Yeah. Now I'm going to do the same Rec 709 conversion, but this time I'm doing it through Dehancer, and look at the difference, basically. So let's switch that one off and switch this one on. It might be really subtle, but take a good look. Take a look at the sky here. Look at the rendering of the greens, my skin tones, all this area right here. Let's switch that off, switch that on. Switch that off, switch that on. It looks so organic going through Dehancer over going through a normal Rec 709. Now there's not much that I've done to this image either. I've just chose my camera. I've actually changed it to the Arri Alexa, which is quite funny because this is actually a Blackmagic footage here, but I've changed it to the Arri Alexa, and for some reason it gives me a better color than what I get out of the Blackmagic conversion. I've done the same for this as well. This is converted through a LUT provided by DaVinci Resolve to turn, you know, your Arri Alexa footage or whatever you've used into from, you know, the Arri log into Rec 709. So I've done the same thing there. So I'm not using a different log or anything like that, or a different LUT. Sorry, it's the same thing. But Dehancer just rendered it better colors for me personally. When I look at that too, I just look weird there. I don't know, like I'm lacking all detail or in color wise, and this one just adds that heaviness, niceness. There's a bit of noise here which I don't like on, let me go on the mid drift here of my tubular belly. Yeah, you see that noise? That looks like digital noise to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down finally here, film grain. See, this time I have positive film grain rather than negative. See, negative just looked extremely strong all over my face, and when I clicked to positive, it blended that off and it looked a little bit nicer to me. But what I will say is it looks very chroma in my middle area of there. So I'm going to grab the chroma, I'm going to bring it down, and that's showing me that I actually had noise in my image itself. So maybe I should leave it about there. And the best thing to do in this scenario would be to do some noise reduction on my original image. Now, RAW files are kind of renowned for having a little bit of noise in them, so that's something I'll have to do some noise reduction afterwards. But that's my kind of overlook or my overview of Dehancer, my little secret weapon on how I'm getting nicer, richer colors these days. And I'm really enjoying using this software, and I think you guys should check it out. It's not just for DaVinci Resolve. You can use it in Premiere Pro. You can use it in all the others. They've also now released, which I haven't tried yet, which I'm excited to try. They've released a photography version of this. So you can get all the looks, you know, the cine still kind of looks with all the halation and that inside your photography for Lightroom and Photoshop, which should be absolutely dope. I'm really looking forward to that. So anyway, that's this video done. I hope it was informative enough to show you this software. My God, I'm dying. Oh, wow. I had COVID not too long ago, so the chest is still trying to work its way back around. Yeah, so anyway, that's an overview. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is my little secret weapon. Now, I do have another little secret weapon, actually, that I've been using recently to really push the look of my Blackmagic cameras. I mean, they look 10 times better than if you just use, you know, the LUTs out of Blackmagic. But I'm going to talk about that little secret weapon in another video. Okay.